Right now, without even thinking about it, you know roughly what time it is. Your phone tells you. Your watch tells you. Every microwave, every car dashboard, every laptop corner, all of them confirming the same precise number down to the minute. You've probably checked the time at least 10 times today without even noticing. Now here's the question. What did people do before any of that existed? Not just before smartphones. Before clocks. Before watches. Before the mechanical clock was even invented. For most of human history, there was no such thing as 2 o'clock. No such thing as 7:30. Time wasn't a number. It was something else entirely. And understanding what it was changes how you see almost everything about the way we live today. For the vast majority of human existence, time was measured by the sky. Dawn. The position of the sun at midday. Dusk, the moon. The stars. These weren't approximations, they were the actual system. If you needed to meet someone, you didn't say 2 o'clock. You said sunrise. You said when the sun is above the oak tree. You said when the shadow of the standing stone reaches the stone wall. Time was local, physical, and visible to everyone. You didn't need a device. You just needed to look up. The ancient Egyptians were among the first to get more precise. Around 3,500 years ago, they invented the sundial, a stick in the ground that cast a shadow, dividing the day into segments. They called these segments hours. But here's the strange part. Their hours weren't equal. In summer, daytime hours were longer than nighttime hours. In winter, it reversed. The hour wasn't a fixed unit of time. It was a fraction of available daylight. Time was literally seasonal. The Romans inherited this system and ran their entire civilization on it. A Roman businessman scheduling a meeting would say the third hour, which in summer was roughly what we'd call 9 in the morning, and in winter closer to 10. Everyone just knew. Time was flexible, socially negotiated, built into the rhythm of daylight and season. And then came the church. In medieval Europe, the monasteries became the timekeepers of the world. Monks had to pray at specific points throughout the day, 7 times, called the canonical hours. Matins before dawn. Lauds at dawn. Prime terce, sext none vespers compline. Each tied to natural light. The word noon actually comes from none, the 9th canonical hour, originally prayed in mid-afternoon. Over centuries, it drifted toward midday as habits changed. The word itself is a fossil of a completely different relationship with time. To signal these prayer hours, monasteries rang bells. Loud ones. And because the monastery was often the tallest, most central building in a medieval town, everyone heard them. The market traders, the farmers, the blacksmiths, all of them organizing their day around the sound of a bell they couldn't control and didn't choose. Time wasn't yours. It was announced to you. The mechanical clock changed everything. The first working public clocks appeared in European cities in the late 1200s, massive iron machines installed in church towers, driven by falling weights. They didn't have minute hands. The very first clocks only showed hours because that was precise enough. The minute hand didn't become common until the 1600s. The second hand not until later still. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. When mechanical clocks arrived, they didn't just tell time. They created time. Because for the first time, every clock in a city could disagree with every other clock. And they did. Before the railway, Bristol time was 10 minutes behind London time because Bristol is slightly further west. Both were correct. The sun simply rises later there. This wasn't a problem until trains needed timetables. You cannot run a railway where every town is on its own local solar time. In 1847, the British railway companies imposed a single standard, Greenwich time, on every station in England. Local time was abolished by industrial necessity. The clock on your wall stopped telling you what the sun was doing and started telling you what a network needed. We have been living in railway time ever since. And we have internalized it so completely that we treat time as a fixed, objective, universal thing, when it is none of those things. For most of human history, time was negotiated. It was local. It was tied to your body and your landscape and your season. When medieval peasants worked, they didn't work 8 hours and stop. They worked until the task was done, or until it got dark, or until the bell rang. There was no such thing as being 5 minutes late to something. Appointments were approximate, solar, human. The phrase killing time would have been incomprehensible to a medieval person. Time wasn't something you could be in possession of to kill. It was something that happened around you, not something you managed. We are the first humans in history who feel guilty for not using time efficiently. Every generation before us just lived in it. Here's what's strange. Studies on modern stress consistently find that clock watching, checking the time, counting down hours, feeling behind, is one of the most reliable triggers for anxiety. The more precisely we track time, the worse we feel inside it. Ancient peoples weren't unproductive because they didn't have clocks. They were productive in a completely different way, one tied to task, season, and daylight, not to an abstract number on a wall. The next time you feel behind, or rushed, or like there isn't enough time, remember that the feeling itself is an invention. A Victorian one at that. Built for factories and railways, not for human beings. You are not bad at time. You are using a system that was never designed for you. Your sense of flow, your preference for doing things until they're done rather than watching the clock, that's not a flaw. That's just what time actually felt like for most of human history.